Welcome to Kung Fu Havoc 2. My name is James Williams Jr. I'm going to try and make this short, sweet. So, if you've caught up with me on my comic book Strange Gems, then you should also know that right now, I'm a seriously very big fan of comic books coming to TV in general. So tonight is Tuesday, the 2nd, I think, of February. And February is always going to be a hard month for me because at one point in time, they had 3 things going on in this one month. And they still kind of do. I think they gave the Native American month to November. I'm not going to swear to that. I have to Google it. But since I'm part Native American, at one point in time, Native American History Week, Chinese New Year, and Black History Month all shared February. So apparently somewhere along the line, they had to give somebody some month somewhere. But Chinese and black people, we share this month. Alright? I don't know what year it is for you guys in the next couple of days, the next 2 weeks or whatever. It'll be Chinese New Year's. So, ni hao ma. I hope you guys are all going to have a great Chinese New Year. I don't know how to say that in Chinese, but I do know how to say hi. So, ni hao. Anyway, for Black History Month, I want to talk about a couple of black superheroes, both Marvel and DC. So I'm going to go with my favorite black superhero first from Marvel Comics. And his name would be Night Thrasher. For those who don't know, he was killed off somewhere in the 90s. I don't know if they ever brought him back. I don't know if they brought the New Warriors back. But Night Thrasher was basically the black Bruce Wayne in Marvel. He wasn't as rich as Tony Stark, but he wasn't by far as poor as other superheroes like Blade, who's just like cruising through. He was also black and part vampire. Night Thrasher also didn't have any superhero powers, but he had badass suits, and his actual name was Dwayne Taylor. And the last comic book I read before they killed him off, he had took in Rage, who was also a black character from Marvel, who was once an Avenger. He was a 13-year-old kid in a behemoth-sized body. So you can check all these guys out. Those are some of the Marvel black superheroes that I pertain to like. So now, in honor of my favorite black DC superhero, see, yes, not Hal Jordan, John Stewart. In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. That those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. So, as you all know, there was at least one black Green Lantern. His name is John Stewart. Not to be mistaken with the comedian on TV who's a white fella. Alright, but John Stewart's a black superhero, and he's one of the reasons why I really love the DC Comics Green Lantern Corps. Because he basically took over for Hal Jordan, and nobody likes Guy Garner. So, if you're into DC Comics and you know who John Stewart is, then you've known that he was also a Marine, and he went through a whole lot of stuff. He lost his family and became the Green Lantern. So, since I'm not going to go too directly into detail, because some of the things have changed since I was reading Green Lantern and all that, way back in the 90s and things, where everything, well, how Jordan became, like, the Phalanx or some shit. He basically did the same thing like Cameron Hodge, only he was evil and he became like a universal being, etc., etc. And John Stewart and the Lightning Corps, they had to go after him. And again, things have changed since they introduced the New 52s and the Infinite Crisis and all that other stuff. Which goes to show you that I really haven't been paying too much attention to DC. But I do want to congratulate DC because they're running the airways right now. They have The Flash, they have Arrow, they have Legends of Tomorrow, they have Supergirl, and they have Gotham. Now, before you go jumping down my throat about Gotham, I don't hate Gotham. However, if you're a Batman fan, and I am, I will strongly say that the show is not for you. If you're a Jim Gordon fan, which the show is like hyperly extended into Jim Gordon's life, then this show is for you. Now, I'm not going to say I hate the show, because I don't. I love the show. It's awesome. I hope it comes on for another season. Just haven't had time to catch up with it yet. But anyway, Supergirl rocks. They have Martian Manhunter in there. Of course, his name in here now is Hank Crenshaw, whatever. Still a good show. I don't recall him as Supergirl ever working for the government, but it works. So, way to go, DC. As for Arrow, things on that are things I've been watching it like since the second season. So, I'm gonna tell them don't change a thing. Awesome. Flash, very good. Now I do have to know: are they gonna make Wally Kid Flash? That's what I really want to know. And since the West family is now black, yay DC, because DC has been getting a hard time about their diversity characters. So now that everybody can understand that DC has diversity, you have red tape from then till now that people have to cut. So whenever you see a character that used to be white is now black, nowadays it sells better because the original Nick Fury was white. So, and they rewrote him and specifically got Samuel Jackson to play him because no one could play him better. All right? In case you don't know, the guy that played Michael Knight, I don't know why I can't remember your name right now, the Baywatch fella, Mitch Buchanan. So I know all the guys he played, I just don't know his real name right now. He played Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., in one of the movies that came on Sci-Fi Channel. I think it was actually called Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it was before the Disney uprising and taking over of Marvel. Now, just in case you guys don't know, a lot of the artists that draw for DC are of color. Specifically, one of my favorite artists, and not just because he's Chinese, but Jim Lee. Because Jim Lee introduced me to one of my favorite groups when he was working back with Marvel, and him, Todd McFarlane, and Rob Liefeld all spraying off and did Image. Well, Warblade is one of Jim Lee's, because he used to run along beside Grifter and them, and the one and only Wildcats. Now, if you're not a Wildcats fan, you can Google the cartoon and watch it from the 90s, but watch every episode because it is very worth it. It is a must-see, and if you're a Jim Lee fan, you damn sure better watch it. Now, as for the other shows, like Youngbloods and all the other things, they didn't really get a rock-off cartoon, but they were good. And Stormwatch was led by a black guy named Battalion, and then Wildcats. I don't really remember them having any black person on there because Voodoo, I think she was like Indian but not Native American, and she was hot. And Warblade, I forgot what his ethnicity was, but he was white. And you don't know what Die Hard is in Youngbloods because he's wearing the thing. But Youngbloods did have at least 2 black guys on there. The only one I remember is Chapel because he was in the Spawn cartoon and Al Simmons ate his ass up. Which, by the way, Spawn was also a black man named Al Simmons. So for your Black History Month, that's your Marvel, DC, and Image. And I can't remember any black characters in Dark Horse because I haven't really dug that deep into Dark Horse comics. However, I'm going back to Marvel now, and we're going to talk about Blade and the Night Stalkers. I'm sure you guys have no idea who the hell that is, and I can't find a comic book right now, but Blade, you know who Blade is. Half vampire, the Daywalker, etc. And his group of the Night Stalkers insisted on Michael Morbius, the vampire, who had Spider-Man's blood, etc. Go watch the cartoons. They'll get you up to speed. And if you don't have the cartoons, go find the comics. They're a good read. And the original Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze. So, if you're into Night Stalkers or vampires, you want to get the Night Stalkers cartoon, comic, whatever. They should have got a cartoon, but they didn't. And it's the same thing. Okay, so if you caught the new Fantastic Four movie, they also made Johnny Storm black. So, like I said, these things can transgress over if people are willing to turn the blind eye and accept it and just go with it and let it go. Which, by the way, I didn't hate the new Fantastic Four movie. I just didn't like the concept and how long it took for them to get their powers, etc., etc. But it was an alright movie. It wasn't as good as the ones with Jessica Alba, baby. That's because I'm a Jessica Alba fan. But it was still a good movie. Now, as an out-of-work, non-existing actor that you will never know, I have the right to voice my opinion. And maybe some of my insulting opinions may make me famous. But anyway, when you change things in comics, when you make a major hero a different ethnicity, and it's the same guy, it kind of fucks people up. Because when Nick Fury became black, a lot of people didn't really like it at first. But then there are some things that black people can say morally and immorally that everyone in the known universe thinks is just badass. It doesn't really translate over when a white person says it, because most people, I'm sorry, I will say it because no one else is brave enough. They don't have the balls to say it. Most people will say that if a white person says some of the things that Nick Fury can say now because he's black, would be making Nick Fury a racist. So let's not have Nick Fury be a racist because that's like the last thing he ever was. Now, since we're on colored and diversity, there was an episode of New Warriors, and I'm pretty sure no one probably really read it but me because I'm like the biggest New Warrior fan. Dwayne Taylor was basically a U.S. agent. He had the outfit and everything, and they had to fight the pharaohs and all kinds of other stuff. It was a pretty good comic. All right, I'm not biting to get New Warriors back, because like I said, I don't even read comics anymore because it's not the same Marvel as it was when I was younger. Not that I don't like Marvel, but once you take my characters in the direction that it just wasn't working for me, I decided to stop contributing. Not that I'm trying to change anybody's mind about contributing, because comics are great. They're fucking awesome. And more importantly, they help young men stay out of trouble and learn how to read. Really help you learn how to read. Reading is the most important thing you can learn in this world, especially this month. It's Black History Month, people, so get your asses out and get a book about black people. Not that I'm trying to be pro-black today, all right? I'm still 1,000% mutt, and I'm okay with it. So I'm asking from my black side and my black people to get our shit together, be grateful, thank you, and be the Black History Month. Let it be celebrated and salivate in it, but don't go overstepping our boundaries. Don't go off on a freaking ruckus thinking, oh yes, February is Black History Month, I can go battle lion and fuck shit up. No, you cannot do that. Behave yourselves out there and be nice. Video 1 over.